Alright, we got next. Um, when Hollywood made two Asteroid movies the same year. Yeah, Hollywood's good at that. Well, I say good. They've gotten worse over the years. Now it's like this was the good old days when they only made two of basically the same movie. These days it's every month. One a month, really. This is by PointlessHub. This was like a month ago. Not really sure what to expect from this, but let's go. Cheesecake. What the fuck?
Imagine you're a Hollywood studio.
I'd rather
you want to make
not.
a movie about, I don't know, monster cows or something.
Monster
Everyone
cows.
loves the monster cow idea. You greenlight the movie, put millions of dollars into this fresh idea, but then that's when you find out.
See,
Another
now,
studio's making a monster cow.
no, see, you would have been stopped immediately if it was a fresh, new idea. All right, if it was brand new, never been done before, you would have never got past the first screening for that. You would have never gotten past the first hurdle in your way to getting this greenlit to be made. No.
Cow movie 2. How did this happen? Did they steal the idea? Was it just a coincidence? Doesn't matter now. I guess we just got two monster cow movies releasing in the same exact year. These are called twin films. Sometimes Hollywood just makes two movies about the same idea in the same year. Sometimes script ideas just float around and are picked up by studios. Other times executives take ideas with them to their new job. It's a thing that happens for some reason, and I find it incredibly funny. Like how Bug's Life is about an outcast inventor finally using his abilities to save his home, and how Ants is about Woody Allen in Starship Troopers. The year is 1998.
I mean, to be fair, I actually loved Bugs and Ants. They're both good movies. I'll be real about that. I enjoyed both of them.
Had literally every good game ever made, American Godzilla, and for some reason, two movies about the Earth getting hit with an asteroid. Deep
If only.
Impact and
They keep fucking missing us, guys.
Two films see humanity facing an apocalyptic threat. An asteroid, or comet, is about to hit the planet, and a small band of astronauts...
No, but for real. Every time we hear about some fucking asteroid or some shit heading our way these days, like I'm talking real life. Like, it's like, oh, they're warning us, or this, oh, it could be this. No, they fucking miss us every time. Even the world-ending space debris doesn't fucking want us. Alright? Wants nothing to do with us. Alright? It's just, it's getting sad now, okay?
have to stop it. That is where the similarity between these movies end.
He does alternate
yeah, this isn't
history,
gonna be like that White
okay.
House video at all, where they're pretty similar with some minor differences. Oh no, these movies couldn't be farther apart in tone.
Now, we can't do anything about the little one, but, you know, it just might give them a chance.
Colonel! That thing's coming right forward! We got to move!
Deep Impact begins with Elijah Wood discovering a comet. A comet that's going to hit the Earth. Nobody knows it yet, though. Except for this guy. But for some reason, he decides to text and drive, and his car goes right off a cliff, and he fucking explodes. There's a real lesson there somewhere.
Somewhere. Listen, if you're trying to text and drive on those fucking phones that were literally bricks, you deserve to be hit by a fucking truck to the face, okay? Come on now. Come on. Because I don't think a lot of people remember or were alive when the earlier phones, when you tried to text, I don't think you realize the letters weren't on individual buttons. There was usually like 3 letters to one number. And you had to like slowly choose which letter you wanted to spell out the word. No, if you're doing that shit with that kind of phone while driving, death. You deserve it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Protagonist is this journalist lady named Jenny who works for MSNBC. Yes, that MSNBC. You're gonna see a lot of MSNBC in this movie. They needed the promotion. They wouldn't have that guy with the board for like 20 more years. There's a mystery afoot. The Secretary of the Treasury resigned. Apparently, the Secretary has been wrapped up in someone called Ellie. Is Ellie his mistress? The first 30 minutes are just her investigating this political scandal of a top government official in the executive branch cheating on his wife.
Congratulations. You now have the biggest story in history.
Fun fact, the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke in January 1998, and this movie came out in May. Talk about some timing.
Biggest story in history? What an ego. Now, if it was the president.
Anyway, while investigating these extramarital shenanigans, Jenny finds herself wrapped up in something far, far bigger. She gets kidnapped by President Morgan Freeman and is told to shut up until they get a press conference around. While investigating further, Jenny finds out that Ellie might not have been a side girl at all, but perhaps might have meant ELE, or extinction level event. Ooh. It's so funny she discovers this by just doing an internet search. Literally only gets one option on the page. What a simpler time. I like these first 40 minutes.
The good old days.
The mystery of it. I mean, yeah, we know what the government is hiding.
When you literally typed in and got the result you wanted instead of like thousands of pages of basically like sponsored ads and close but not quite what you were fucking looking for.
We all know what movie we're watching, but it's a decent way of building up tension, having the protagonist uncover the information. The secretary basically admits the world's gonna end and it goes right over Jenny's head. I like stuff like that. And then the mystery dies. The president just lore dumps to everyone what's going on. Morgan Freeman expositions to the audience, a comet is coming, this is where comets come from, this is what we named the comet.
Wolf Biederman.
Introduces the astronauts who are going to blow up the comet, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Hey look, it's Jon Favreau. From this point on, this is now just an entirely different movie. Jenny gets relegated to news anchor for the rest of the film. The only thing she has to deal with anymore is parental drama. Her mom and dad are divorced, and she's not taking it well. The whole second act really
She's a grown-ass
follows the
woman, why not?
astronauts, and for some reason, they're introduced as arrogant
Like, by that
jerks.
point, it shouldn't
They're
matter.
the new hotshots that think they're better than their old commander, Robert Duvall, an older veteran who literally went to the moon.
I got respect for everybody who's gone to the moon, but this mission ain't going to the moon.
That's right. Frank Gifford, he was a great football player in his time, but if he played now, he'd get his ass busted.
Let's go call your mom.
Sorry, the Apollo program? That's old news. We're the new generation. We practice on simulations running Windows 95. Why did they do that? It's so odd to introduce them like this. Real people, especially highly trained astronauts, would not act like this. I get what the movie's trying to do. They're jerks at the start, but through adversity, they come to appreciate Robert
Yeah, this
Duvall
is like-
later on. But the arrogance...
This is a stereotype they do to this day, which it just, like, back then it was already overdone, but now it's so overdone that it's like, it's, as soon as you realize, it's just automatic eye roll. It could ruin the movie just because it's just, ugh, here we go. Predictable is predictable is predictable. It's so bad.
Is laid on so thick at the beginning that I just kind of dislike these characters now.
It's not a video game, son.
Hell, we're not even halfway through the film, so I know they're gonna fail anyway.
It's not a video game, son.
Then the rest of the movie is them learning to respect their commander while floating out in space. Glad they all learned the important lesson of not being rude to old people. Except for Jon Favreau, he's fucking dead. With the nuke plan failing, Morgan Freeman announces Plan B, shooting the Rock with even more nukes. I find it even funnier how well the general public is taking this news.
There will be enough of us left to rebuild a new world in the unlikely event that the comets do strike the Earth.
Like, Morgan Freeman tells everyone that if the meteor does hit, the world's gonna end. And they can only put less than 1 million people into underground bunkers. Imagine if the president went on today and just told Americans they were all going to die. You think they'd be this
Honestly, let's be honest now. Let's be honest now. The reaction, I could see riots, panic, but also a good majority be like, fucking finally.
calm? There's riots in other countries, I guess, but not America. The most armed population in the world, and everyone just stands outside these well-known bunkers only to be slightly sad. Other than exposition, Morgan Freeman really doesn't do much. Just sits around waiting for plans to fail. Remember how Elijah Wood discovered that comet? Well, he's got a whole subplot here. I'm assuming they wanted to show a normal person's perspective on the whole situation. But it's not really done very well. There's an underage wedding. That's kind of odd.
What the hell?
Okay, so
Oh,
Elijah
God.
Wood and his family got accepted into the government bunker because he discovered the
That
comet.
was like promoted a lot back in the day. Like, can we not have that make a comeback? Because I know they like to rehash old shit. They don't like new ideas. Can we not make that a thing again? Can we not do that, please? It's so... I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Right? Well, he wants his little girlfriend and her family to join them too, which is why the whole underage marriage thing happens. The US government saw through that clever disguise and forces her parents to stay behind, so she does too. So Frodo and his family reach the bunker, but right before he goes in, he realizes that he needs to go back and save her somehow.
I have to go back for Sarah. Leah. Mom, I'm going.
Kinda seemed like a decision you should have made before getting on the bus, but oh well. He's confident though that he can go back and get her somehow before the comet
God,
hits.
he was such a
His
baby.
parents hear this plan.
Look at him,
and
baby
just
face.
let him do it.
I'm gonna make it.
They don't even argue against this idea, which is certainly fatal. His very own father
I love
looks at his
how so far Deep Impact is basically being shown as like unrealistic to a degree where it's like it's not even entertaining. It's just bad.
14-year-old and goes, okay, have fun. Even if his parents believed he could save her, neither of them go back with him to make sure he finds her safely, or survives. They all just go into the bunker. The world is literally ending and they just wave their kid off on a journey across Middle Earth, staying behind in the actually safest place you could possibly be. After the missiles fail, Morgan Freeman gets on TV and just tells everyone they're gonna die.
And there's nothing we can do to stop them.
Would you say it's time for everyone to panic? Yes, I would, Ken.
He is just not holding back.
So this is it. If the world does go on, it will not go on for everyone.
Most of Deep Impact is about the emotions of it all. Preparing
My
for the inevitable,
emotions.
reflecting on the end. Do we reconcile with family despite past grievances? Or do we straight up off ourselves like Jenny's mom did? Oh boy. Jenny's mom's entire arc is just so depressing. Her husband leaves her for a younger woman, right? Basically destroys their family for no good reason. And when she hears—
Of course. It's always, it's either an actual child or leaving for someone who is young enough to be said child. You know what I'm saying? Can we just leave the children alone? Can we just...
Here's the news that nobody over the age of 50 will be let into the bunkers, she just gives up and ends it all. So after that first detonation failed, the comet split in two, with a smaller fragment of the comet going to hit Earth before the bigger one does. And the smaller fragment actually does hit right into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Whenever anyone actually remembers Deep Impact, this is the scene they remember. Jenny decides to give up her place at the bunker to save her friend. She decides to reunite with her dad on the beach they once went to as a family. They share one final moment together as the wave comes in. Fans of the movie really like this scene. I get it. But this just makes her mom's death even worse. Like, her mom died alone and depressed, all because of her dad.
I feel like an orphan.
Yet at the end of the movie,
Grown-ass
Jenny
woman.
just does a 180 so we could have this final scene.
Daddy.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe if they didn't have the mom.
Okay, I just have to say that. I have to say this. I have to say this. Especially for grown-ass adults. It just sounds weird. It just sounds weird when you be calling your father daddy. Okay? It sounds weird. I'm sorry. Listen, when you're a little kid, yeah, makes sense. But when you're a grown-ass adult, it sounds fucking weird. It just does.
Die like that, this one, it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. Have her die in an accident or something. Fall down the stairs. Slipping on Ice Cube. Where was I? Oh yeah, Elijah Wood dirt bikes up a mountain to escape a tsunami. The astronauts sacrifice themselves to destroy the bigger comet, and everyone is saved. You know, except for the ones that weren't. Humanity may be battered, millions may have died, but at the end of the day, the federal government of the United States survived. And isn't that all that really matters?
No.
You don't trust the man you're working
God.
with, you're as good as dead.
Armageddon begins with all the dinosaurs on fire. This is a movie called Armageddon. This is what the Earth is gonna look like unless Bruce Willis stops it. But in case that didn't go through your thick skull, here's the space shuttle exploding. Hell, have New York explode too. Especially this guy. They really did this guy dirty. All he was trying to do was protect his Godzilla, and he gets absolutely obliterated. At least the tower survived. There's an asteroid on the way, and they got 8.
The fucking towers. Nothing ages a movie like those fucking towers. God damn it.
15 days to stop it. All the nerds have dumb suggestions except for Lucius Malfoy, who says that to destroy the asteroid, you're gonna have to drill into the center and blow it up from the inside. There's only one man for the job, and that's Bruce Willis. In the movie, he's actually named Harry, but it's a lot funnier to say Bruce Willis. Harry/Bruce Willis is an undersea oil driller. And I'm not even joking, the way they introduce him is as he's shooting golf balls at Greenpeace protesters. Joke's on him though, Ben Affleck's banging his daughter. What a way to introduce these characters. This is just the first 15 minutes, by the way. In the same span of time, Jenny was interviewing the Secretary of the Treasury.
Turn the camera off.
Meanwhile, Armageddon is doing this.
I love her. Way wrong answer!
So yeah, the plan is simple. Get the best drillers in the world, shoot them up into space, plant the nuke, hope for the best.
Hey, thank you for
Billy
the follow.
Bob Thornton
Welcome
and
on
Keith
in.
David now have to make sure Bruce Willis and his gang of morons are up to the task of deep space travel. Let's introduce our little suicide
to be
squad,
fair,
shall we?
Gang of Morons really is it. It's like it tries to have like this serious tone to it most of the time, because end of the world shit, but it really is just a gang of idiots that they send to space to save the world. That's basically it.
There's Chick, Harry's number 2. He's divorced and a gambling addict. Steve Buscemi is a sex pest. Max is fat. Michael Clark Duncan is Michael Clark Duncan. And Owen Wilson is here too, who I entirely forgot was in this. He fucking dies. Will these chuckle nuts have what it takes to save the world? Who's to say? Half the movie is them on Earth doing wacky hijinks preparing to go to space, and the other half is them being in space. Also, there's that weird scene in the middle with the animal crackers. You know the one. If Deep Impact was an intellectual nerd, Armageddon was the jock shoving that nerd in the locker. Deep Impact treated the
Pretty
entire
much, yeah.
situation of an outer space object potentially hitting the Earth in a quasi-scientific and all-around serious manner. Meanwhile, Armageddon went, "Holy shit, there's rocks fucking falling from space." I like Deep Impact. I appreciate what it's trying to do.
Yeah, honestly, Armageddon was the movie that was basically like, if there wasn't like an explosion of some kind happening like every 5 minutes, then it felt like the movie would just not function because it was built around the explosions.
Explore an end-of-the-world scenario in a grounded way. Nothing wrong with that. Those behind the film tried their very best to be as scientifically accurate as possible. And that's respectable. Even if it wasn't perfect, it's the thought that counts. If someone says they like Deep Impact more, I get it. With that said though, I f***ing love Armageddon so much more, man.
This is so much fun, it's freaky!
You know this channel, you should have seen this coming. It's a Michael Bay movie, like of course I was gonna pick it. Even after I'm done with Bayformers, I still can't escape him, despite this whole parasocial...
First of all, fuck Michael Bay. He's an asshole. That's all I gotta say, alright? Piece of shit. Okay? Okay. He might got some banger movies and some shitty movies. Don't matter whether you like him or not. He's still a shite.
Relationship between me and Bay beginning with that video about Transformers 2007. That was ironically not my first Michael Bay film. This was. Even to this day, when I think about Michael Bay action, Armageddon is what mainly pops into my mind. Hell, since I brought up Transformers, so many Bay elements that are famous in those movies have origins in this one. Shots that were recycled, asteroids, Michael Bay's obsession with NASA, ethnic stereotypes. Wait, fuck. Is Armageddon the beta test of Transformers? Like the Halo Macworld demo?
Yeah.
Or is Transformers an evolution of Armageddon? Certainly something to think about. As much as someone can argue that Deep Impact is the better film, it's certainly not as interesting to talk about. Unless you want to compare it to this, of course. Hell,
Like, I just feel like
these two openings.
I just feel like for Michael Bay, it's like explosions and shit get him off. You know, that's his kink. That's his thing. Also, he's a piece of shit. But I just gotta clarify that every time we talk about him.
Deep Impacts is silent, a white, clean font on the night sky, and Armageddon starts with the extinction of the fucking dinosaurs. Even the title explodes. The comet in Deep Impact is discovered by a couple of nerds doing astronomy stuff, and when they spot it, they have at least a couple of years to prepare for its arrival. The asteroid in Armageddon does a sneak attack.
He's a breach in the atmosphere from Finland down the North American seaboard.
It's only when the space shuttle explodes and when New York City is in absolute devastation when anybody at NASA notices that an asteroid is about to hit in 2 weeks. An asteroid the size of Texas.
Honestly, the way they're discovered in both of these, I believe both of them are possible. Yeah.
My personal favorite comparison is the very name of the bodies themselves. Deep Impact names its comet after those that discovered it. The combined name of Wolf Biederman. A realistic and kind of boring name, but it fits the tone of the film. I could imagine actual scientists of the 90s naming this thing. Armageddon's asteroid, on the other hand, is named Dottie, named by this guy after his bitch wife.
I want to name her Dottie after my wife. She's a vicious, life-sucking bitch from which there is no escape.
What's the one thing people always make fun of Armageddon for? What's the most common joke everyone says that many are probably commenting right now? It's the classic question, why send oil drillers into space? instead of just teaching astronauts how to dig. Haha, being an astronaut is a far harder job than being an oil driller, so this movie is stupid. Michael Bay, you dumb fool.
You fucking idiot.
There's an often repeated story about how in the DVD commentary, Ben Affleck just makes fun of the whole premise of the movie.
I asked Michael why it was easier to train oil drillers to become astronauts than it was to train astronauts to become oil drillers, and he told me to shut the fuck up.
Yes, how hilarious. That's what makes this movie so silly. Nobody ever talks about how fucking big the asteroid is. Okay, so in Deep Impact, the comet was 7 miles wide. The size of the one that killed the dinosaurs, which was about 10. You know how big the asteroid in Armageddon is? 600 miles. 600 miles wide.
Damn.
That's not an
Look
asteroid.
at the size of that turd.
That's a moon. That's all.
That's like, I knew it was a fucking big ass bitch, but come on now. Come on now. Fucking hell.
Almost the size of Pluto. Dottie wouldn't be jagged and pointy. It wouldn't have a weird cloud of evil surrounding it. It'd be a sphere. NASA didn't just miss the existence of an asteroid, they missed the existence of an undiscovered planetoid. This thing is fucking Planet Nibiru that was supposed to kill us in 2012. When Billy Bob Thornton said this,
"Doesn't matter where it hits, nothing would survive, not even bacteria." My God.
he was honestly underplaying the severity. If this thing actually hit, not even the Earth's upper crust would survive. It would have stripped away the entire upper layer of the planet, down to the mantle. Earth would just become liquid for a moment, as everything
Earth would be
ripped
cracked
into
like an
space.
egg.
They couldn't just have a pretty big asteroid that was big enough to cause a KT-level extinction event. Couldn't even have something twice as big. No. They had to have something 100 times bigger. Yet the plan is to still send Bruce Willis and his team of chuckle nuts to blow it up.
You think we'll get hazard pay out of this?
It's kind of beautiful, isn't it? They just had to make an asteroid with the most dramatic size possible without even thinking about it. Something so big, it accidentally broke the film. I don't care much about scientific realism in movies. As long as the story is entertaining, everything's okay. But man, it's just so funny they made this fake asteroid way too big for no reason. Who knows, maybe they just think you can blow up a planet with a nuke. For any of the Deep Impact fans out there, the reason I'm a bit more harsh on Deep Impact than Armageddon is because Deep Impact tries to portray this comet disaster as a serious situation, one where people deal with real emotions surrounding it. Ironically, the closer to reality you are, the easier it is to poke holes in the story. Deep Impact's logic is like a very clean table. If there's a few blotches here or there, they're gonna be noticeable. Armageddon's logic is like if the table was on fire. All you can really do is just enjoy the pretty flames. Armageddon not even pretending to be realistic.
he's got to have like an explosion kink or something.
This is clearly operating on a whole different plane of reality. Why do they send oil drillers into space to blow up an asteroid? Because that's the movie, moron. It's like explaining the logic of why these alien robots turn into cars. That nerd locker metaphor wasn't a joke. All of the NASA nerds that aren't this guy are bumbling, unattractive morons.
Deploy solar sails. You'll have a great big canopy.
This is a world where the geeks are wrong and America wins, baby. If this was a realistic situation, and the rock wasn't the size of a planet, then yeah, maybe sending astronauts would have been smart. Ben Affleck would have been right. But he's wrong, because this isn't real life. This is the movie Armageddon, a space adventure film where our gang of perverts and degenerates fly around from quest to quest before defeating the big rock. And I do mean defeat. You see, for some reason, the asteroid is like an actual sentient villain trying to kill our protagonists.
Climax.
This is not a mindless chunk of rock. Dottie's kind of like Monster House, an entity
oh my God,
of its
that
own,
fucking movie.
purposely designed by the film to be the hardest thing imaginable to drill. It's a space rock with a spooky cloud around it. That's a subtle way of saying that this thing is evil. The people who
subtle. fucking fart gas around it. Obviously evil. It's like the contrast between these two fucking movies is so stark. It's not even fucking funny, cause it's funny and not funny. Cause it's like they're both technically about serious topics, right? But one was all like about the emotions and stuff, but it kind of, because they tried to make it as realistic as possible and emotional, it kind of is less memorable because of it. Although from the cringe scenes we saw, I could understand why. But it's like, then you have this one, Armageddon, where it's like literally just farting out explosions left and right. And it's so dumb and stupid, and none of it really makes any sense. But somehow it works out. Like, it's like failing upwards, basically.
Say that you could have just taught astronauts to drill and they would have gotten the job done don't know what they're talking about, because this is an oil driller's worst nightmare. This thing throws everything it can at these drillers, sometimes literally. When the astronauts fail in deep impact, it's because the comet's gases are released once they hit sunlight. In Armageddon, the rocks just fucking explode. Why did the rocks explode? The movie makes it very clear that the only
maybe
person
it had
that can defeat
diarrhea.
this thing is Bruce Willis, just like the only person that can defeat Frieza is Goku. They're drilling through pure metal with a diamond drill, and still that barely works. Bruce Willis has to push the limit of his psychic oil drilling abilities. It's like a superpower, like Spidey Sense or a stand. Only he and his team have this power, and the feeling in their gut to get the job done. Never speak again how astronauts could have gotten the job done. They clearly couldn't have. Watch the damn movie. The Armageddon lore says they couldn't. It's like saying the military could have defeated the kaiju in Pacific Rim. No, you idiot. Only the giant robots can. And in Armageddon, only drillers can defeat an asteroid.
The way he's saying Armageddon
this is
is
stupid.
sending me.
So, allegedly, according to Deep Impact screenwriter, a Disney president, though he doesn't say which one, just stole the idea of doing an asteroid movie. Like, they sat down at lunch, and while having a casual conversation about the movie that eventually became Deep Impact, the president was like, hey, that's pretty cool, jotted down a few notes, and then he just stole it. Allegedly. This is how most twin films are made, by the way. Few things
God
here.
damn.
One, Disney being shady. Shocking, I know.
What a
Two,
surprise.
wait, Disney made Armageddon? Yeah, they did.
Woman with large breasts. Woman with medium breasts.
Touchstone is a subsidiary of Disney, basically from a time when they tried to release more mature movies that wouldn't fit under the Disney label. You know, until they gave up that idea in the 2000s, let Jerry Bruckheimer go wild. That was my Disney renaissance. In my very educated opinion, what I'm imagining Disney did was look at the idea of Deep Impact and go, yeah, that's cool, I guess, but we gotta spice it up. Realistic melodrama about a comet impact? Boring. Let's explode the fucking Russian space station. That's really what Armageddon is. It's an excuse to have the most unlikely people possible be responsible for the fate of the world. Deep Impact is more like a traditional disaster film, without the schlock. Armageddon stays focused on the main group. These movies are doing two entirely different things. Hey, at least Deep Impact has the better emotional arc between father and daughter. Right?
She left me. She's with her mother. They both got scared. Come, I want to talk to you. I need you.
When it comes to the father-daughter dynamic, Armageddon did it better. Yeah, that's right, I
Why
said
does the
it. Alright, look, the relationship
That
between...
looks so weird, but why did that little clip of like the daughter and the dad look so fucking awkward and cringe, where it looked like he was about to fucking make out with his daughter. Like leave them youngins alone. Stop. It's so bad.
Harry and his daughter Arwen of Rivendell is all over the place. I'm not denying that. At the start of the movie, she doesn't even call him dad for some reason.
Hi, Harry.
I have asked you repeatedly to call me Dad.
Sorry, Harry.
And I do mean, for some reason. It's just never specified. They drop her doing this almost immediately. We're introduced to them having a whole spat where she says she's a woman now and he shouldn't control her, and she says she's gonna quit and they fight about it. Harry almost kills Ben Affleck with a shotgun. But then once they learn about the asteroid, this whole dynamic is just dropped. The rest of the time he's on Earth, she's like his second in command, someone he bounces all his thoughts off of. Their dynamic becomes a loving father-daughter relationship. When they leave, she just sits around worrying on Earth. So like, why even have this whole spat at the beginning? Why even introduce them so antagonistically?
Close! Now! Stop! Alright, it was funny for a minute, it's not funny anymore!
It's because Michael Bay movies best convey exposition through fighting. They had to get all that backstory out somehow. Had to convey that Harry's daughter spent her whole life on the oil rig.
Look, I was raised on Roughnecks by you! And now you get all shocked and shaken when I fall in love with one!
And also is in a relationship with Ben Affleck. After the strange opening though, I like these two better than these two. Mainly by the fact that Harry's wife is dead from natural causes, and not because he divorced her for a younger woman. Hi, Future Cody here.
Yeah, and again, the weird dynamic between the dad and the daughter in Deep Impact is just from the clips shown in this video, it seems off. It seems weird.
Editing this video. I don't know why I said the wife died in Armageddon. She just left them a long time ago.
Since I reached the age of 10 and became older than you, Harry, since Mom split, why don't you take your pick?
I think I got my wires crossed with Deep Impact. This project's hurting my brain. Speaking of divorce, Ben Affleck. He is certainly Ben Affleck. This relationship subplot sucks so much, dude, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm being very forgiving towards this film, but you gotta have standards somewhere. I just don't care about these two. They're the worst part of the movie. Like, Bruce Willis actually makes a good point about why she felt—
No, but for real. Did anyone give a shit about their relationship in this movie? Like, whatever else you think about this movie, did anyone else give a shit? Really? Did anyone really care? Really?
fell in love with him.
AJ is my choice and not yours.
He's the only one in your age bracket, Grace.
They were the only ones within each other's age range. That's it. Even if they had a great dynamic, which they don't, it'd all be thrown out the window because of that scene. You know the scene. The damn animal cracker scene. My god.
Way down.
They Tony Hawk grind railed right on that line. As awkward as this scene already is, the love ballad just makes it so much worse.
Oh god.
Mainly because the song is being sung by Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, also known as Liv Tyler's actual dad. Imagine singing a love ballad over a scene of your real-life daughter being intimate with animal crackers. Just kind of odd. Oh boy, that song. The only thing people really remember about this movie. The only Aerosmith song to ever reach #1. So funny story about this song. It's April 2020. I'm getting married. Like, my wedding was set for April 2020. If you remember anything about that time.
I do feel bad for, like, people that had legit serious plans for 2020. Like, any type of serious planning for 2020. Just literally had a Michael Bay explosion, like, shoved right up its ass. That plan was obliterated. Oh god.
Not great. Everything shut down at the end of March. This was a time before masks. This was a time before any of that. They just told everyone to not go outside. At all. In my state, public gatherings were banned. Our big wedding had been reduced to just a few people. Like, even the organist didn't show up. So, as a last minute fix, Instead of having the ceremony be played by a piano organ, it was played instead by a YouTube song playlist.
Oh
like
no.
the phone was connected by aux to the church speakers instead. Played classical music, you know? Overall, went alright. Wife and I got married, good times. But as we were walking away from the altar, going right down the aisle, something happened. The phone that was playing classical music switched randomly to something else. I am not making this up, I swear to God. Somehow, it switched to this fucking song. This exact scene is how my wedding went down. In the middle of an event that felt like the world was ending by sheer coincidence. This movie is forever tied to a key event in my life. Against my will. Just like how Transformers 4 is. Why does this keep happening to me? Both movies have something that I like to call the beta asteroid. Basically a test asteroid that hits so the audience understands the stakes. In Deep Impact, the comet splits in two, with the smaller one slamming into the Atlantic, while in Armageddon, a big chunk just hits Paris. Considering this is the climax of the film, I'd say Deep Impact does the scene better. Jenny and her dad, you know, die. New York is obliterated. It has that killer motocross scene. Deep Impact had the worst outcome by far. Every country bordering the Atlantic got hit hard by a massive tsunami. That wave was bigger than the Twin Towers. There is no way Western Europe or Africa survived that. Meanwhile, Armageddon just has Paris get destroyed. Sure is crazy how many of these space rocks keep landing on major cities. They never seem to land in the middle of a forest. I like that for some reason that Arch survived somehow. While Deep Impact had the better impact, Armageddon had the better sacrifice. I already didn't care too much for the astronauts, and they didn't do much the entire movie other than sacrifice Jon Favreau like this was a game of Kerbal. Harry / Bruce Willis, on the other hand, has like 90% of the screen time in Armageddon, so of course that sacrifice had more impact. It's a pretty good misdirection too.
I think Deep Impact made the bad decision to like basically split the focus so much between so many characters and so many storylines. Like it just felt like it was too much happening at once, that it was split so much that it, like you said, the pun, it didn't have as much impact. it was just, it's ironic, but it just didn't have a big impact in Deep Impact. What fucking puns you can make from that alone.
Ben Affleck thinking he's gonna be the one to press the button, but then he gets pushed back inside and told to live a good life. I like this final scene. Probably could have gone without the weird flashbacks right before he presses the button, but creative differences. What can I say? While the comet explodes into a bunch of smaller pieces in Deep Impact, Armageddon has the asteroid split directly in half. Perfect two pieces, right outside the atmosphere. Like the distance that satellites orbit, but they still narrowly miss the Earth. I love this movie. And so Armageddon ends with an object the size of Texas splitting in half and passing by Earth like this was the end of Phantom Planet. So, I'm gonna be honest, I had an entirely different ending to this video. Originally, I was gonna bring up a third asteroid movie, Greenland.
I swear, I'm gonna get my family into that bunker.
It had nothing to do with this whole twin film thing. It was just a neat asteroid movie that came out in 2020, and nobody saw it. But here's the thing,
well,
it's a pretty serious
nobody was
movie.
seeing a lot in 2020,
like,
to be fair.
It's just really cynical. The anti-Deep Impact, if you will. In 1998,
last vid
people
for
were
the night?
riding the high of
Possibly, yeah.
American
What time is it?
exceptionalism.
Oh,
so
man.
in that movie,
It's like
the
1 a.m.
government's like this benevolent, kind figure.
Yeah,
in
I'll
just
probably
a
end it
really
after this vid.
naive way, honestly.
I am starting to get hungry.
Meanwhile, in Greenland, the government just doesn't tell people an asteroid's gonna hit. They just lie. They tell all the important people, just not you. What a difference 20 years can make to our perception of the federal government. So yeah, I rewrote the ending to this video. Why did I do that? Well, Greenland's just kind of a bummer. It's a good movie, but it's about people killing each other and society collapsing, and that's not really funny. But who wants to end like that? Also, I didn't want to end this video by planting the idea in your head that if we were ever gonna get hit by an asteroid, the government might not even tell us. Now that I think about it, I'm kind of just ending this video like that anyway, since I just told you that. Thanks for watching. See y'all in 2032.
Oh god. Oh no. Pearl Harbor romance movie. Oh, for fuck's sake. God damn. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. Those fucking movies are both like they're basically about the same thing, but at the same time they're like two different flavors of cringe about it, you know? It's basically, yeah. Two different flavors of cringe. My review of those two movies.